What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel Pitol in Motion, a place for busy people and dream chasers looking to achieve their goals in a more efficient way. So if you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Ira and I do project management, self-improvement and the occasional lifestyle video. So be sure to hit that subscribe button if that sounds interesting to you. And to my lovely subscribers coming back for another video, get your cup of tea. You already know it's gonna be a good one, and let's get straight into it. So in this video guys, I'm going to be breaking down, and hopefully in a way that you can really understand and get your head around, some really key PM terminologies. As you know, as you go into a new industry, you go into a new company or whatever, everyone just seems to have their own lingo, you know, and it might just sound like, what is going on here? Some words, apparently I'm meant to be saying them, I'm meant to be understanding them, but I don't know what we're talking about, love. Well, those are the terms that maybe you'll be in a meeting as a new PM and you're not really too sure what you're talking about or what you should be calling something, or actually you're talking about it but not knowing what word to use. I'm gonna hopefully break down some of those key terms that you should definitely know and get your head around, have a really good understanding of as a PM. Also, if you're in an interview, it's really nice sometimes if you use some of the PM lingo. It lets the recruiter know that you're a little bit more clued up, you've done your research, you know, just slap some of these words around, you know, obviously understand what's going on, but it could leave a really good impression as well. So let's get it popping. So first up we have RAG. R-A-G, and it's an acronym that stands for red, amber, green. RAG is used absolutely throughout project management in various locations, and it's just a way of giving a status update on the health of your project effectively. Red, as you can imagine, means this ain't going so good. Amber, I mean, it's not burning, but has potential. And then green, of course, is like on track. Like I said, it could be used in a variety of places. For example, status reporting, if you have to give an end of month status report on how your project's going, how the scope is, how the budget's going, resourcing, etc. You might be asked to rag the health of those different aspects of your project. But you can also see ragging in your RAID log and also your defects log and places like that. It is a really quick way of just being able to see at an instance, okay, how bad are we doing? Imagine just open up one of your documents, let's call it like your RAID log or whatever. You're opening it up and you see a lot of red. You know, we're not doing too great. I don't even need to read the details, but you know it's not too great. And on the flip side, if you open up a status report or an exec gets a status report and they see green, they might just decide, let me just not prioritize this because clearly this one's going a bit better. And if they want the detail, it will be in there as well. So it is a really useful tool. Make sure you know what it is and make sure you use it as often as you can. Next up, we have the critical path. So the critical path consists of the longest sequence of activities from the start to the finish of a project that need to be completed on time in order for the project to complete on time. And you're hearing that and you're saying, Ira, what do you actually mean? In layman's terms, it means, yo, which activity in this plan, if it should slip, my end point slips. That's basically it. Now, in a project, there might be more than one critical path. There might be a few different critical paths, but it's really important that you identify that critical path because that is the task that you need to be paying attention to. If that one should slip, there's generally in a project many tasks, of course, that make up the project plan and the deliverables, but if some of them slip, okay, it's not that deep, like we can shift around this and still make the time up. That is not your critical path. I'm talking about that one activity or that one task or those two tasks that if that one slips, it's gonna make something else slip, that's gonna make something else slip, which will ultimately mean that the project timeline at the end slips. We're talking about timeline, we're talking about end time. That is my critical path. Really key that you're able to identify it up and down the gaff because, like I said, that is the deliverable as a PM you are most concerned about. Next one, we have milestone, and you'll see this a lot. I've talked about it a lot as well because it is that important. So a milestone is a specific point within a project's life cycle which is used to measure the progress towards the ultimate goal. So effectively, it's like that key point in a project when something good has been done and we can say we have made progress. Let me give an example. Let's say we are, once again, project 4. That if you've been with me from the beginning, you know I use this project a lot, right? Project 4 is basically making and designing, engineering a brand new device into the market. So the process of doing that, we design it up front and then we make our first prototype. Someone could say, you know, that prototype getting into the office so we can test it, that point in which it gets in is a milestone. Why? Because we have made significant progress. That is something that execs will be interested about. That's something that they can now go and say, hurrah, hurrah, you know, we've done something here. End of testing, you know, getting past a particular level of testing, the tricky part, the part that, oh, if we didn't get past this, we're screwed. That could be a milestone too. Obviously, the end of project launch is also a milestone. That generally tends to be the ultimate goal that you are working towards, the end milestone. It's really important that you identify several points within the project, and these are distinguished between deliverables or just normal tasks. Different tasks being put together in a series at the end should have a milestone. Should say, okay, we've done all of these tasks, we've done all of this to make progress, and now we are at a very, very good position. Here's a top tip for you guys. If you ever get into any kind of status reporting or anything like that, your execs, your boss, your whoever you're reporting to wants to know about milestones. They want to know about the main bits in this project, you know, because they don't care about the low level, the small, what day-to-day steps. They want to know what are the main things that I need to know are happening and what date are they meant to hit. And if they don't hit on those dates, those are the ones that they're going to be concerned about. So make sure you identify your key milestones and put them in a report. Just be like, these are my key milestones. I call it a key milestone report. Put the date next to it. Those are what the exec wants to see, and then also rag it so that they're aware, okay, how are we tracking towards this? Are we making progress? Is it at risk? All of those good things there. It'll be very good for visibility, and I'm telling you, they're gonna be impressed. The baseline, guys, this one's important, and it's important that you capture it, because if you don't, you're gonna run into some issues. So what is a baseline? The baseline is simply the clearly defined starting point of your project. That is the fixed reference point on the project where we will then notice and measure progression against. If we go back to some of my previous videos when I've talked about the holy trinity of project management, good old time, scope, and good old cost, right? Those are the main parameters that project managers are brought in to manage. When you have a plan at the beginning, you decide this is the scope, and for this scope of work, it's gonna cost this much. And when we spend this much money, it's gonna take this much time. And you agree all three of those parameters. Once you agree that at the beginning of the project, it becomes the baseline. And you need to agree, you need to make sure everyone is aware, yo, I'm going to deliver this scope at this cost in this time, and nothing above. That needs to be really, really, really clearly defined. So then when you're actually delivering the project, if you're overspending or if you're underspending and stuff like that, you can start to see, this is the parameters, this is what I'm meant to do, how am I doing? When it comes to reforecast, you always go back to the baseline, see how I'm doing. It becomes difficult when you haven't baselined properly, and then people are expecting things to get done. When there's uncertainty about the scope, it's like, okay, well, I think I have this budget, is this in scope? Can I do this bit of work? It's not ideal. Let's not get into that. So make sure you clearly define what the baseline is at the beginning of the project. Next up then we have contingency. This is one of my favorites, and guys, let this be your best friend. How do I explain contingency in an easy way? Right. Contingency is effectively your backup plan. Contingency is basically I need to save my ass pot of money, or you didn't tell me you needed this money to the engineers. This is a, wow, I've messed up on planning pot. This is a, y'all didn't tell me you needed this extra time pot. This is a, we have to do what? Extra pot? Is all of those uncertainties that you had at the beginning of the project before you baselined, or when you baselined, should I say, that were not considered, that are now going to be swallowed up, and you're able now still to deliver on time and on cost because of the contingency. In more formal terms, contingency is the process in which you account for uncertainty when factoring in risk. When you baseline, like I've just explained at the beginning, you decide the scope, you decide the cost, you decide the time, but you don't know everything that can happen on the project. You don't know, something might slip because there's a risk that DHL's not gonna deliver something on time. You do not know all of these things that might happen. And when you put your RAID together at the beginning, you put your risk log together and you baseline, there might be a few risks in there. And it's where there's uncertainty, you need to be able to add in a little bit of money extra into your budget, or a little bit of time extra to factor or to consider those possible risks materializing. So like I said, it usually comes in the form of extra money in your budget or extra time in your schedule, just in case, something happens unexpectedly, or someone asks for extra money, or you need to do an extra activity that you didn't think about. All right, guys, so that is it for this week's video. This video is going to be in 2 parts because, as you can see, I'm a chatty patty and I do not want this to be too long. I've gone through 5 already, and I'm in part 2. I'm going to go through another 5 terms that you need to know and understand well as a PM. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Make sure you drop a comment down below, and I'll see you in my next one, guys.